All right, yo. So Kim Zolciak is requesting that Kroy be tested for the substances, okay, in this divorce. Okay, let's get into it. I don't even want to waste no time with y'all. You know, I like getting right into it these days, okay? So here's what she's requesting in court. She requests that this court issue an order to compel respondent Kroy Bierman to submit to a 5-panel hair follicle substance screen and to not cut or remove any of his hair until such time as the screen is complete. Now, these are according to court documents obtained by Us Weekly on Wednesday, May 17th. She filed the request in Fulton County, Georgia, one day prior. But let's get into exactly which substance she's concerned about. All right. Now, this is per the legal paperwork, and I'll put the article in the description as I typically do so that you guys can see it for yourselves. All right. Now, based on the paperwork, she claims to have seen, okay, she'd inspired him smoking the ganja, and she has serious concerns for the safety and the well-being of the minor children while in the respondent's care. She is fearful that the children will be exposed to the respondent's substance use. Okay? And requested that Kroy, okay, pay for the testing at his own expense. Now, this is just the latest request in the filings of their tumultuous split. All right. Um, I could give my commentary on it, but you know, I mean, I was thinking that she was gonna say that it was like the crack or something. You know what I mean? Like I was expecting it to be, I mean, something very serious, something very just scary. And granted, if you are a parent and you get to decide and determine what you want around your kids, that's legit it, right? Now I don't partake in the ganja, you know what I'm saying? But I know a lot of people that do. I know a lot of people parents did. Okay. A lot of people parents still probably do. So I is this you guys tell me because again, I don't have kids. Is this extra petty, extra contentious, or do you think that she is well within her rights to be concerned? Okay. So much so that she needs to have the court make this official, that the testing be done. And of course, that it be done at his own expense for fear that the children could be exposed to this type of substance use. Let me know what y'all think. I noticed that it didn't say substance abuse. It said substance use. Interesting. Is it casual, recreational, daily, hourly, by the minute? I need a little bit more information, but that's the tea. Real quick, I had to bring it to y'all this morning. Um, just so you guys know, for those of you guys who are in the DMV area, I will be doing Good Day DC Will the Lion Lunch Hour at 11 a.m. So, got to get the tea to y'all early. Let's move on over to the basketball wives, okay? Malaysia and Brandi specifically. Interesting tea. Interesting tea. Now, did you guys happen to catch Carlos King's interview with Brandi Maxiel? Mm-hmm. It's a good one. I actually got to go back and watch the one where him and Brooke, because I meant I put that on my list of things to do and I hadn't got a chance to do it. But I watched the entire thing of Brandi and Carlos in their interview, and I thought it was quite interesting. Look, some juicy tidbits that we're going to talk about real quick. But overall, let me just give you guys some context. I mean, he called her Aggie, I guess, in an interview that he did with Brooke, I think it was. it was either Brooke or Jack, one of the two, I think. No, I think it had to be. I think it had to be Brooke. Anyway, he called her Aggie, and so she was like, "You know what? You think I'm Aggie? Let's talk about it. Okay, let's talk about it." And so they did the interview, and it was I will say that the interview did Brandi a huge. I mean, it is incredible how different I felt like she was in this interview than how she appeared during the season. Because Aggie's a good word to describe exactly how I think most of us felt like she was what we were given on the show. And it was interesting to me to see how kind of carefree and relaxed and fun she was. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, where is this girl when it comes to filming Basketball Wives? You know what I'm saying? Where has she been? Okay. Where has she been? Interview is good. It's about an hour and some change long. But one of the most interesting tidbits is that do y'all know that Brandi was actually being courted for Basketball Wives before Malaysia? And it was, in fact, Brandi who recommended Malaysia to Basketball Wives because at the time when she initially tested, okay, and this was very early before Basketball Wives LA, I think, even really came to officially be. She did a little testing scene or maybe a couple, and she felt like she couldn't really relate to the ladies that were on the show. She didn't have no kids at the time. Um, so she was just kind of like, eh. And so then she in Malaysia, it comes back around for the Basketball Wives LA, and she and Malaysia are both offered contracts. Oh yes, because she also because again, like she recommended Malaysia because again, it came back up. A lot of times when a lot of these reality stars that we see come on these shows, interestingly enough, kind of similar to I think what Dr. Heavenly talked about this as well. You know, when it first started, she was offered a Married to Medicine. I mean, she was in, I guess maybe in the process or um in consideration for. But Brandi says, that, you know, no, she had been in consideration for Basketball Wives, and ultimately decided against it. Then it came back around for the LA, and she was offered a contract, and then she got pregnant, and then she decided that she wasn't going to do it. Also, that it would be a risk for her because she would be going into the season, expecting. So didn't do it. So Malaysia ends up doing it, and she's happy for Malaysia. So it is very interesting because a lot of the times we see Brandi on the show and we think back on their relationship and we think, oh, well, Malaysia stood up for Brandi, you know what I'm saying? Or she at least maybe somewhere in some way, shape, or form had her back or tried to bring her back to the show. That's kind of how it appeared. But this is actually what happened, according to Brandi. So Brandi decides not to do the season one and because she's expecting. Then season two comes around, she's in mommy mode. So season three comes around, she does the show because she's about to leave Jason. Okay. And so she does the show. They bring in Tammy and Shawnee because the ratings are maybe going down a little bit, or maybe they're afraid the ratings will go down because Drea has departed the show. And so they bring in Tammy and Shawnee to make a moment, and they get into it and they have the, thank you for your services moment. And she says that her and Shawnee are actually okay after that scene. And she comes back the following season, and they kind of had their whole, come to Jesus thing, and they kind of get along for a bit. And then after that, I think is a season that Evelyn is coming back, and she says that she and Malaysia were offered limited roles. So for Basketball Wives, what that would have meant was they were offered like a friend role, as we sort of talk about in the housewives space. And so she says that the scene where she's brought back, um, when the group I think is in Palm Springs, and Tammy, Shawnee, and Evelyn walk out when Malaysia brings her to the scene. Um, she says, oh, she thought it was going to be a juicy moment for TV. She didn't realize that they really weren't trying to F with her like that, right? And so with that, when that happened, she says that she didn't really film. She filmed some more, but it wasn't really shown. And you guys recall when they had that big moment where eventually Tammy and Malaysia get into it, like maybe an episode or two after that. And Evelyn says, well, to be honest, I'm here because I was told that you weren't gonna be here. Likely now looking back on it in reference to the idea that Malaysia would only be in a limited contract, so be there for a limited period of time, or maybe not even at all. So now things make more sense. And so apparently, the reason for that walkout from Tammy, Shawnee, and Evelyn was really more so based on some other behind the scenes things. And I'm thinking it could have been because maybe they were like, oh, well, we thought that it was going to be, the Evelyn and Tammy getting back to, coming back together type situation is going to be the focus, and not so much the older late. I mean, not the older, but the current, I don't want to say current, but the then cast being Malaysia and Brandi, because they were going to be in limited roles, right? So much of that makes so much sense now. She also goes on to talk about why she appeared to be so, distrustful, not distrustful, but like annoyed with Duffy, and a lot of that we found out during the reunion as well. So she elaborated on a lot more of that and that sort of thing. So it was a really good interview. That was probably one of the biggest highlights for me, is kind of this idea that, oh, actually, it was Brandi that was the one who was being courted for Basketball Wives and not Malaysia. Interesting. Well, not that she wasn't, but I'm saying that she was being courted first. So let me know what you guys think about that. Are you excited about another season of Basketball Wives? Because it sounds like she might be a part of it. But you guys watch the interview and you guys can see that for yourselves. I'll place links for the article and the video in the description down below if you're watching here on YouTube. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next video.